Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. Welcome to Mathematics with Shahab Yaqub. So now let's look at question number 26 of the topical book. The first part, solve this equation for theta between 0 and 360 degrees, and the second part is kind of tricky. The answers are over here. We will soon have a look. Now this particular question is from October-November 2012, variant 11, a very nice question. Now let me focus on the first part, that is about solve this particular equation. Theta lies between 0 and 360 degrees inclusive. Now first of all, let me write it down. That is 2 cosine square theta is 3 sine theta. Now we know of the identity, the mother of all identities, that is sine square theta plus cos square theta equals to 1. If I make cos square theta the subject, that is equals to 1 minus sine square theta. So 1 minus sine square theta, that comes in place of cos square theta, 2 is still there and 3 sine theta still there. Now let's expand. So 2 minus 2 sine square theta, negative 3 sine theta or minus 3 sine theta equals to 0. Therefore 2 sine square theta plus 3 sine theta minus 2 equals to 0. Now this is a scenario of middle term factorization. People ask this question, can we use the quadratic formula? The answer is yes, it's your choice. For easy things, I prefer to use the middle term factorization. And even more important is that show all necessary working. Show all necessary steps. Whatever I'm going to do over here, that is all necessary. You have to show the factorization. So this is 2 over here, this is negative 2, 2 into negative 2 is negative 4. So let me write over here 2 sine square theta plus 4 sine theta minus sine theta minus 2 equals to 0. Now take common between these two, take common between these two. So therefore we have 2 sine theta bracket 2, actually only sine theta, plus 2, and this is minus 1. Sine theta plus 2 equals to 0. It's a hard and fast rule that if your factorization is all good and all perfect, these two brackets should come out to be the same. So therefore I'll write sine theta plus 2 bracket closed, and what goes in the other bracket? So in the other bracket we have 2 sine theta minus 1 equals to 0. Now when two brackets or more than two brackets multiply out and give you 0, that means either one of them is 0. So therefore sine theta plus 2 equals to 0. In other words, sine theta equals to negative 2. Just hold for a second. Let me simplify the other one. 2 sine theta minus 1 equals to 0. Therefore sine theta equals to half. Now first of all, let me add a page over here. First of all, I need to reject this one. So this is rejected. Write a reason why. Sine theta, the maximum value is 1. The minimum value is negative 1. So therefore this is out of range. The ratio sine theta is out of range. That is why this is rejected. Now the solution will be coming out of this one. Do all the necessary 4 steps. What is the range of values of theta? That is 0 and 360 inclusive. Step number 1. That is sine is positive in first and second quadrant. That is the first thing. Second thing, theta is not modified. So just write things as it is. And that's a theta and not a q. So let me write it properly. Third thing, that is let alpha be the basic angle, the acute angle with x-axis. Sine of alpha is half. Therefore alpha comes out to be 30 degrees. So make sure your calculator is in the degree mode, and over here you don't have to worry about accuracy. Now, once this thing is done, what is the fourth and the final step? We are on first part only. So now over here, we will write theta equals to, in the first quadrant, theta is alpha, second quadrant, 150 minus alpha, not 150, 180, my bad. I was just blurting out the answer. So therefore, theta is 30 degrees, theta is 150 degrees, that is the answer. Now let me go over here and let me slide this a little bit over here, and that is where you see the answers. So the answer is 30, the answer is 150, and how many marks is that? I think this is for 4 marks. So that is all clear. Nothing special over here, just the usual step. Yes, the thing that is special is that show all necessary steps. Do not compromise on this. That is a must. Now let me move to the next part, but before that, let me teach you the basics for the second part. Let me draw the graph of y is equals to sine theta. One cycle is from 0 to 360 degrees. There is 180 in the middle, and the maximum value, let me just focus on the maximum. It occurs at 90 degrees. The maximum value is 1. So let me write over here the maximum is 1 and it's occurring at 90 degrees. That is the first basic thing. You can write theta, you can write x, doesn't make a difference. Let me draw y is equals to sine 2 theta. That means there will be 2 cycles in 360 degrees. So there is a cycle in red, there is a cycle in green, 2 cycles. The number of degrees that it takes to complete its path is 360 degrees. That means over here, this is 180 degrees, and the maximum that was occurring at 90 degrees before, now it's occurring at 45 degrees. The value of maximum is the same. So maximum is still 1, but now it's occurring at 45 degrees. That means if I plug in 45 over here, 45 into 2 is 90, and we know that sine of 90 is 1. Now what is the observation? The observation is this is stretch parallel to x-axis, and because of this 2, there are 2 cycles, and the maximum is now occurring at 45 degrees. That means that 90 degrees is shrunk. It's being divided by 2 and it's becoming 45 degrees. Now this is the golden result, deduction that we have made. That means if I increase it to 3, the maximum 90 will be occurring at 90 divided by 3. That will be 30 degrees. And let me show you this. So now again, I have already drawn the sketch. I just have to label it. Y is equals to sine 3 theta. That means 3 cycles in 360 degrees. So 3 cycles in 360, that means each cycle in 120. This is 360, this is 240, this is 120, therefore this is 60. And now the maximum is occurring at what? The halfway between 0 and 60 is 30. Halfway between 0 and 90 is 45. Halfway between 0 and 180 is 90. So now it's occurring at 30 degrees. And it's the same magic as before. There is this 3 over here. So now 90 degrees divided by 3, that becomes 30 degrees. Yes, the number of cycles are more, but the values has shrunk by this factor. Because of this 3, we are dividing by 3. Keep that in mind. Now let me also give you another aspect. That is, let me grab a green marker and let me grab it over here. And that green marker, let me draw the line, this one over here. Let me draw a line. I've already used green, so I cannot use green. Let me draw it purple over here. And let me draw, I have drawn blue, something in pinkish. Now, what is the line that I have drawn? I have drawn the line y equals to half. That means if I solve the equation sine theta equals to half, I am getting two solutions. One of them is 30 degrees. We just found out one of them is 150 degrees. If I draw the line y is equals to half, whatever the solutions are, they are now doubled. So this is y is equals to half. That means if I solve the equation sine 2 theta equals to half, 1, 2, 3, 4 solutions. Now you have already guessed what exactly am I trying to imply. Now if I solve the equation sine 3 theta equals to half, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 solutions. Now I have laid the foundation of whatever the background knowledge that is needed for the next part. All good, all clear? So now let's come over here. And over here, let me focus on the second part. Now it says the smallest positive solution of the equation 2 cos square n theta 3 sine n theta. So now this is n theta, this is n theta instead of just theta and theta. It's the same equation as above. Where n is a positive integer is 10 degrees. State the value of n and hence find the largest solution of this equation in the interval 0 to 360 degrees, and this is for 3 marks. Now first of all, this is related to the part above. What is the solution over here? The solution is 30, the solution is 150. That means when we were solving this thing, 2 cos square theta is 3 sine theta. So we were getting two answers. One answer is 30, the other answer is 150. Now if we are solving 2 cos square n theta is 3 sine n theta, one of the solution is 10 degree and there will be many other solutions. Now the value of n, not this marker, the other thing, let me grab it. Now the value of n is such that it is converting 30 degrees into 10 degrees. I hope you got the idea. Now over here, a value of 90 degrees was converted to 45. It was half, that means division by 2, that means 2 is over here. The value of 90 degrees is being converted to 30. It's divided by 3 because the value over here is 3. Therefore, over here, what is the logic? The logic is there is a value 30 degrees and this n is there. That is the coefficient of the angle and it's becoming 10 degrees. Therefore, the value of n is 3. That is the magical answer for this one. In other words, this first equation actually simplified to sine theta equals to half. Really? Yes, really. That is how it got simplified. This was the whole thing. You did the middle term factorization and everything, and technically this equation boiled down to this. So this equation was boiling down to this. In other words, over here, this equation over here is boiling down to sine n theta equals to half. And what is the value of n? That is 3. Sine 3 theta equals to half. And that is why I have drawn the graph. So that means that knowledge was necessary. That means you should be ending with 6 solutions and each solution will be what? Will be divided by 3. So now if you want to solve it, you can say that first of all, in the first revolution, theta was 30 degrees, actually 3 theta. 3 theta was 30 degrees and 150 degrees. And then what should I do? I should add 360, this is 390. I should add 360, that is 510. I should again add one more revolution. Remember, when I use the word one revolution, that means 360 degrees. So now 390 plus 360, how much is that? 750 degrees. And 510 plus 360, how much is that? That is 870 degrees. And if you want, I can draw a small sketch over here also. So that small sketch is like this. So if I draw for this one, for the 30-degree angle, let's have a good look. Now over here, let me choose this thing, that is this angle. So now this first one is 30 degrees, that is over here. And then the red one is one more revolution, that is 390 degrees. And let's just extend it, and the blue one is 390 plus 360, that is 750 degrees. And now if I talk about the other angle, that is 150 degrees, let me also draw a line over here. I need more space, so let me add a page, let me remove it, and over here let me draw this. So now I'm drawing this, and let me draw 150 degrees over here. So let me choose this color like this. Now first of all, in black color, that is 150 degrees. In red color, that is one more revolution, that is 510 degrees. And then in green color, one more revolution, that is 870 degrees. So that is all good, all clear. Now all these values are equal to 3 theta. So 3 theta equals to 30, 150, 390, 510, 750, 870, and then theta is each one divided by 2, that is 10 degrees, 50 degrees, 130 degrees, 170 degrees, 250 degrees, and 290 degrees. What are they asking? Hence find the largest solution of this equation. The largest solution is 290. Let me go up and unbox the answer. So the answer is right over here. That is 290 degrees. And if I look from the perspective of the graph, I can easily label it. Now let me label it over here. This is 10 degrees. What are the answers? That is 10, 50. So the first two answers are 10 and 50. And yes, you can see the symmetry over here. That is 10 degrees difference. There is 10 degrees difference. Yes, there is symmetry. With respect to the roots over here, with respect to the x-intercept. What are the other two solutions? So first two solutions are 10 and 50. The other two solutions are 130 and 170. Let me mark it. This is 130. Let me first remove this 120. This is 130 and 170. Keep in mind, this is 120 degrees. This is 180 degrees. Again, a 10 degree difference with respect to the roots, with respect to the x-intercept. Again over here, let me write 240 correctly and a little bit smaller. So this is 240 degrees. That means without looking at the answer, this should be 250. And this is 300 degrees. This is 290. Yes, these two are the answers, 250 and 290. So the greatest answer is 290 degrees. So there was a long list of logic over here. I have used the concept of sketches over here. I have used the number of cycles concept over here. I have drawn a horizontal line y is equals to half. I have talked from the perspective of graphical solution of equation when two things are intersecting, and I have talked a little bit about symmetry. So that was one classy question related to trigonometry and sketch. Stay tuned for such interesting content on mathematics with Shahab Yaqub.